We spend much of life holding on to expectations, to possessions, to the idea of how things should be. We grip so tightly that our hands grow tired, yet we refuse to release. Why? Because letting go feels like losing. We fear emptiness. We fear that if we loosen our hold, we will have nothing left. But here is the truth. Much of what we carry was never ours to keep. The opinion of others, the outcomes of events, the passing of time. We clutch at shadows and wonder why our arms feel heavy. The Stoics saw this clearly. They lived in a world of loss, change, and uncertainty. Empires rose and collapsed. Plagues swept through cities. Friends, fortunes, even health could vanish overnight. Still, they spoke of freedom. Not freedom from reality, but freedom within it. To them, letting go was not weakness. It was strength. It was the art of choosing what deserves space in the mind and what must be released. Think of your own life. The deadlines you cannot control, the relationships you cannot fix, the past you cannot rewrite. You drag these behind you like stones in a sack, and with every step, the weight grows heavier. Now imagine this. You stop. You set the sack down. The stones remain where they are, but you walk lighter. This is the art of letting go. It is not about indifference. It is about clarity. It is about seeing what belongs to you and what belongs to fate. The Stoics taught that peace comes not from gaining more, but from needing less. Not from bending the world, but from bending the self. The question is not, can you let go? The question is, can you afford not to? Because life will keep moving, whether your grip is tight or whether your hands are open. Time does not pause for your struggle. The river flows with or without your consent. Today, we step into the wisdom of the ancients. We learn not just why letting go matters, but how to live it. In work, in love, in loss, in the simple act of being alive. This is not escape, it is liberation. This is not forgetting, it is remembering what is truly yours. This is the art of letting go, the Stoic meaning of letting go. Letting go is often misunderstood. People imagine it as indifference, as apathy, as giving up. The Stoics saw it differently. To let go is not to stop caring. It is to care wisely. It is to direct your energy toward what is yours and to release what never was. This is the core of Stoic practice. They called it the dichotomy of control, a simple phrase. Yet within it lies the key to inner freedom. What does it mean? It means that some things are in our power, our thoughts, our choices, our actions, and some things are not: the weather, the economy, the opinions of others, the passing of time. To let go, in the Stoic sense, is to see this line clearly, and once seen, to live by it. Think of the stress most people carry today. In America, a man worries about his retirement fund. Markets rise, markets fall. He checks his phone late at night, restless, knowing he cannot control the storm. A woman tries to fix a relationship that has already drifted away. She rewrites old conversations in her head, wishing she could change what has already been said. A young professional stays awake, wondering how her colleagues see her, replaying every meeting, every glance, every word. What is common in all of these? The weight comes not from the event itself, but from clinging to what lies outside their grasp. The Stoics would say, stop, see what is yours, see what is not. Release what belongs to fate, and take up only what belongs to you. This is not coldness, it is clarity, because a mind that tries to hold everything ends up holding nothing well. But a mind that lets go of the unnecessary becomes sharp, steady, and free. Seneca wrote of this often. He said that peace of mind does not come from having fewer problems. It comes from refusing to let problems govern the soul. Your life will never be without challenge, but your inner life can be without chains. To let go, then, is to practice freedom. Not freedom from life, but freedom within life. Freedom to act without fear of what lies beyond your reach. Freedom to accept change without being broken by it. Freedom to face loss without losing yourself. Imagine a ship on the sea. The captain cannot command the winds. He cannot calm the waves, but he can steer the rudder. He can set the sails. He can choose how to meet the storm. That is what belongs to him. The rest does not. So it is with us. Letting go is the art of handing the winds back to the sky and focusing only on the rudder in your hands. In practice, this means asking one question each time you feel restless. Is this within my power or not? If it is, act. If it is not, release. The simplicity is deceptive, because the habit of clinging is deep. We want control. We crave certainty. We wish life would follow the map in our heads, but life has its own course, and the longer we resist, the heavier we feel. Letting go is not about caring less. It is about caring rightly. It is not about turning away. It is about turning toward what is truly yours. The Stoics remind us, the mind is the one territory you fully command. Guard it, train it, keep it free. Everything else is borrowed, temporary, passing. When you see this, you do not become passive. You become precise. You choose your battles carefully. You place your strength where it matters. And you walk lighter, not because the world weighs less, but because you no longer carry what is not yours. This is the Stoic meaning of letting go, not surrender, not denial, but clarity. The discipline to see what belongs to you, and the courage to release the rest, what we refuse to release. If letting go is freedom, then holding on is the chain. And most of us, without knowing, keep tightening it. There are 3 things we refuse to release, 3 weights that make life heavier than it must be. The first is expectation, the second is the past, the third is control. Let us begin with expectation. We live as if the world should behave according to our script. We expect colleagues to value our work. We expect friends to respond as we would respond. We expect life to reward our effort on our timeline. And when the script is ignored, we suffer. We feel betrayed, overlooked, offended. But was the betrayal real, or only the gap between reality and our expectation? The Stoics warned against this trap. They said, reality owes you nothing. The world does not read your script. Other people act from their own reasons, not yours. The more rigid your expectations, the more fragile your peace. Now the second weight, the past. We carry memories like stones, mistakes we made, words we regret, moments of pain replayed again and again. We tell ourselves we are learning, but most of the time we are just punishing. We rehearse scenes that cannot be changed, hoping that repetition will soften them. It never does. The Stoics spoke often of time. They reminded us that the past is untouchable. What is gone is gone. To keep reliving it is to wound yourself twice. Seneca wrote that no man is free who is a slave to his own memories. Reflection is useful. Regret is poison. The past can teach, but it cannot be altered. To hold it forever is to miss the life unfolding now. The third weight is control. This may be the heaviest of all, because the illusion of control feels like safety. We think if we manage enough details, predict enough outcomes, hold tight enough, we will be secure. But the truth is harsh. Control is narrower than we admit. You cannot control your partner's loyalty. You cannot control your boss's opinion. You cannot control whether the world will applaud or ignore your effort. You can control your integrity, your preparation, your response. That is all. Yet we waste enormous energy reaching beyond this line. We try to bend outcomes to our will. We chase certainty that does not exist, and in the process, we burn ourselves out. Look at modern life. In America today, workers grind under the weight of performance reviews and quarterly targets, believing their worth depends on metrics they cannot fully dictate. Couples unravel as one tries to mold the other into an ideal, forgetting that love cannot be forced into shape. Neighbors, friends, even strangers compare salaries, cars, houses, desperate to control the image of success, blind to the peace that comes from enough. Expectation, past, control. These three are the anchors. We cling to them and wonder why we sink. And yet, the moment we loosen our grip, the water carries us more gently. The Stoics did not promise an easy life. They promised a lighter one, not because the world gives less, but because we learn to hold less. Ask yourself, what do you still refuse to release? A story of how someone should have treated you, a memory of what you should have done, a fantasy of how life should unfold. Each is heavy, each is optional. The refusal to let go is what exhausts us, not the event itself, but the endless repetition of it in the mind, not the loss itself, but the belief that loss should never come. The chain is not outside, it is in the grasp of our own hand. To see this is the first step toward freedom. To release it is the second, and only then do we begin to walk lighter. Expectation, past, control. They will call for your attention again and again. They will whisper that you must hold on. The art is not to silence them once, but to practice letting go each day. This is the training ground. This is where strength is revealed. Ancient Stoic lessons on release. The ancients did not speak of letting go as a vague idea. They gave it form, they gave it discipline, and through their words, the practice has survived for centuries. Epictetus, born a slave, lived a life where control was scarce. He understood better than most the limits of human power. He wrote, "Freedom is secured not by the fulfilling of men's desires, but by the removal of desire." At first, this sounds harsh. Remove desire? Is not desire what drives progress, love, ambition? But Epictetus was pointing to a deeper truth. When you cling to desire, you place your freedom in the hands of chance. When your happiness depends on an outcome, you live as a hostage to it. Remove the desire, and the chain falls away. Think of the times you wanted recognition, a word of praise from your boss, affection from your partner, likes on a screen. Each desire, once attached, became a lever that others could pull. You surrendered your peace. Epictetus is not telling us to feel nothing. He is showing us the way to feel rightly. To desire what is within reach, virtue, integrity, clarity, and to let go of what rests on others. Marcus Aurelius carried another lesson. He was emperor, but he wrote not of conquest, but of impermanence. He reminded himself daily, everything changes, pleasure fades, pain passes, glory is brief, loss is inevitable. He wrote, all that you see will soon perish. Think of how many before you have stood at the same place, looked at the same things, and are now dust. Why this reminder? Because when you see the temporary nature of all things, you stop clutching at them as if they were eternal. You enjoy them while they last, you endure them when they hurt, and you release them when they go. For Marcus, letting go was not pessimism, it was liberation. The knowledge that nothing is truly yours forever frees you from despair when change arrives. You did not lose it. It was never permanent to begin with. Then there is Seneca, a man of wealth, politics, and constant danger. He lived with more than most, yet spoke often of less. He taught that what we truly own is not property, but perspective, not possessions, but the power to need little. Seneca warned that the man who depends on luxury is always poor, because he fears its loss. But the man who trains himself to live with little can never be robbed. To him, letting go was not deprivation, it was security. In one letter, he wrote, "If you wish to make a man wealthy, do not give him more money. Take away his desire for it." The lesson is sharp. Wealth is not in the bank, but in the mind. Put these three voices together, and the Stoic teaching is clear. Epictetus teaches us, free yourself from desires that bind you. Marcus reminds us, release your grip on what is temporary. Seneca shows us, lighten your load by needing less. Letting go, then, is not a loss. It is the return of your inner freedom. It is reclaiming your mind from the tyranny of desire, from the illusion of permanence, from the fear of need. And when you release these, something shifts. You stop being obsessed with results. You stop measuring your worth by what others give or withhold. You stop fearing the future or mourning the past. You begin to focus on the present act, the single step in front of you, the choice within your hands. A craftsman does not shape the outcome of the market. He shapes the wood before him. A teacher does not control the mind of every student. She controls the clarity of her words. A parent does not dictate who their child will become. They guide with example, patience, love. In all these, peace comes not from grasping at the result, but from releasing it. The act is yours. The outcome is not. This is why the Stoics place so much weight on action and so little on outcome. They saw that attachment to results makes us fragile. If the result is poor, we despair. If the result is good, we become addicted, fearful of losing it. Either way, we are not free. But when you act with focus and release the outcome, you are unshaken. You succeed with humility, you fail with dignity, and in both you remain whole. This is the paradox of letting go. The less you cling to the outcome, the better you act in the moment. The mind is clear, the hand is steady. You are no longer torn between fear of failure and hunger for success. The Stoics teach that the measure of a life is not in how much you have, but in how little you need, not in how many outcomes you secure, but in how well you live the actions that are yours. So, letting go is not passive, it is not resignation, it is the highest form of discipline. It is the freedom to live with clarity, to act with strength, and to walk unburdened by what was never yours to hold. Modern applications. Letting go in today's life. Philosophy is not only for books. It is for the desk, the dinner table, the long commute home. If the wisdom of letting go cannot live here, it is not wisdom at all. So how does one practice release in the modern world? Let us take 3 arenas: work, love, and material life. First, work. In America, the culture of work is relentless. Deadlines multiply, targets rise, promotions hang like distant prizes. We are told to keep climbing, faster, higher, always. But the Stoic sees the trap. When your peace depends on promotion, you are not free. When your worth depends on a title, you are enslaved to someone else's decision. The practice, then, is to release the expectation of quick reward, to shift the focus from outcome to endurance. You do not control the speed of recognition, you control the quality of effort. Each day's work, done with integrity, is victory enough. A career is not a sprint, it is a long walk, and those who walk steadily often go farther than those who run and collapse. Now, love. Relationships test our desire to control more than almost anything else. We want partners to respond in certain ways. We want their choices to align perfectly with our needs. We cling, we mold, we demand. But love dies under the weight of control. The Stoics remind us, you cannot command another heart. You cannot own another will. To try is to destroy both them and yourself. True love is built on self-mastery. You control your patience, your honesty, your presence, not their loyalty, not their moods, not their past. To let go here is to replace control with self-command, to stand firm in your values and to allow others the freedom to stand in theirs. If they stay, it is by choice. If they leave, you remain whole. Finally, material life. We live in an age of endless comparison. Screens remind us daily of what we lack. The car not yet bought, the house not yet owned, the vacation not yet taken. Each image whispers, "You are behind." This comparison is poison, because there will always be someone ahead. The race has no finish line, and the more you chase, the more you feel you are losing. The Stoic practice here is to release comparison and embrace sufficiency. To see that enough is not a number, but a mindset. Seneca warned that wealth is not measured by accumulation, but by the ability to live with less. In a world where desires multiply without end, the one who needs little is richest of all. So how do these practices look in daily life? In work, you meet a deadline, you give your best. The result is uncertain, but your peace does not depend on it. In love, you show kindness, you stay true. Whether affection is returned or not, you remain anchored. In material life, you enjoy what you have. You let gratitude silence comparison. You walk lighter because you no longer chase endlessly. This is not easy. The modern American adult between 22 and 55 carries immense pressure. Bills to pay, families to support, relationships that break, a constant fear of falling behind. Stoicism does not deny these realities. It does not ask you to escape them. It offers a compass, a way to stand inside the storm without being carried away. Because letting go is not withdrawal. It is engagement without chains. You work, but you are not enslaved to outcome. You love, but you are not broken by change. You live, but you are not consumed by desire for more. The world will not simplify itself for you. It will remain noisy, restless, demanding. The practice is to simplify yourself within it, to hold less, to release often, to return each day to what is truly yours. Work, love, material life. These three are where Stoicism proves itself. Not in theory, but in practice. Not in ancient words alone, but in modern lives lived with clarity. The art of letting go is not for monks on mountains. It is for you, for today, for the life you are already living. The quiet liberation. At the beginning, we spoke of burdens, stones in a sack, carried step by step, heavier with every mile. The truth remains. Those stones do not disappear. but you can choose to put them down. Letting go does not erase reality. It changes your relationship to it. The weight remains in the world, but it no longer rests on your shoulders. This is the quiet liberation, the freedom not of escaping life, but of meeting it unchained. Understand this: letting go is not a single act. It is not a moment of release followed by permanent peace. It is a practice, a daily choice. Each morning, each conflict, each memory that returns, you are asked again, will you hold or will you release? The Stoics knew this discipline. They repeated reminders. They rehearsed loss in their minds. They trained themselves not once, but continually, to place their strength where it belonged. And so must we. Because clinging is not broken in a day. It loosens with practice. It weakens with repetition. It dies when we stop feeding it. So here is your invitation. This week, choose one thing you are gripping tightly. A resentment, a fear, an expectation of how someone should behave. Place it before you and ask 2 questions. If I let this go, what do I lose? If I keep holding it, what am I already losing? Often, the second answer is sharper. You may realize you are losing peace. You are losing sleep. You are losing the chance to live this moment fully because you are still clutching what has already passed or what has not yet come. Letting go does not take everything from you. It gives something back. It gives clarity. It gives steadiness. It gives the strength to live this life without being chained to what lies outside your reach. The Stoics were not free of loss. They were not spared disappointment. They were not untouched by grief. But they learned to live so that loss did not strip them of themselves. And that is the point. The Stoic is not the one who never loses. The Stoic is the one who never loses himself in the process. So, let us end where we began. The sack of stones is still there. You cannot make them vanish. But you can choose to set them down, walk lighter, live clearer, release often. This is the quiet liberation. The Stoic is not the one who holds everything. He is the one who learns, day by day, to let go of what is not his until what remains is enough, and he is free.